approach. Is basically kind of looking at people individually and saying, where are you at? I know they did, TPI had John Rahman. He was like this phenomenal soccer player growing up in Spain.
Right.
And when they brought him in for his TPI assessment, his overhead squat, he was just falling over constantly. He just didn't have enough good mobility. Okay. And so for him, they shortened his swing up because he couldn't get his arms up higher without losing his posture and going forward. And so that's somebody who's way too tight. And they just kind of said, let's shorten your swing up so you have control of what you have, right? And we're not going to get you out of posture or do anything crazy. And then you get guys like Tony Finau, who he has a ton of flexibility and range of motion. But his golf coach was like, hey, we can eliminate one side of the course if we shorten it up. And so he can hit the ball further. But it was more of a, hey, for you, we don't need to hit it further. We need to hit it a little bit, straighter or have a little bit more control, right? And so those are two different ways of kind of looking at somebody who has a ton of mobility. They both have shortened swings. One of them is shortened because he doesn't have range of motion, and he needs more oil. The other guy has tons of range of motion. He needs a little bit more duct tape or a shorter swing. So you're kind of looking at people and just trying to understand where they're at, what do they need, and then looking at that from their swing and how can they, the goal is to lower your hand, lower that score, right? And so and that's kind of what we're looking at is, does this translate into a lower score? Is this helping you? Is this benefiting you? And if it is, perfect, let's continue on that route. If it's not, we got to change some things up and maybe we go with a different approach.
Right. It's funny you say that because my son is really, really, really flexible. But to me, I think he needs to be able to control it a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I saw a video of it. His swing looks solid, right? It looks great.
Yeah.
And so, his backswing is awesome, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was just one video that I saw, but maybe it is from all the swings you've seen is maybe if you just give him a little bit more control, maybe he gets a little bit more out of that, right?
Right. That's correct. So let me ask you this. What do you feel is the best way for juniors to warm up? Like, for example, when they get to the course, a lot of juniors, they go straight to the range, they go straight to, hitting balls. And, if you had to give our juniors a 5 to 10 minute warm up, what are some of the things they should do when they're warming up?
Yeah. So for kids, I would say, we would probably like to do a little bit more for kids. I would say we'd probably like to do a little bit more of an activation approach. And it could be something as simple as having them, balance on one leg, okay. Maybe swinging a golf club on one leg and they're kind of working on balance and stability. Maybe it's doing some exercises that are a little bit more focused. So they're starting to kind of dial in and that kind of mental approach. Maybe they're doing some things where they're, their leg is up on a wall and they're kind of in this split squat position. And they're kind of working on getting those glutes activated a little bit more, and everybody, like I said, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different kind of approach. But for kids, I would say it's more of a, let's work on some balance and some stability. Let's make it fun. Let's get them dialed in as far as something that's kind of getting their mind kind of working and on focusing itself. Maybe some breathing drills, so it just kind of depends on the person. And I would say, if it's somebody who's amped up a lot and kind of gets a little nervous, maybe it's more of just kind of them working on, some breathing, some easy things of kind of turning, maybe some balance, trying to get them to kind of lower things down. If it's someone who needs to be amped up a little bit more, maybe I just saw a question of, super speed sticks. Yeah. Maybe you're swinging something fast and you're trying to, you're just trying to get some energy going because that's how you end up, that's how you hype yourself up a little bit, almost think of it from if you look at guys on the NBA playoffs is going on right now, and you'll see some guys kind of messing around, they're kind of joking around, having fun. You'll see some other guys who are really kind of super, intentional and just kind of seeing the ball go in the hoop. Yeah. You'll see some guys on the bike. It's really kind of looking at them and they know themselves so well that some guys is kind of they're good because they like to have fun and they're joking around and they're just trying to, relax and let the game kind of come to them. You'll see some other guys shooting and they need to see that ball go in. They're kind of working on, the wrist release, and you'll see some other guys that are they're kind of in, their body's a little worn down and they're trying to get it going by getting on that bike. So you kind of look at, those are different stages, right? You have different people, personalities. So I would say, try to find your personality, figure out what kind of works for you. And then try to hone that in a little bit more. So make it specific.
That's good. All right. So John, talk a little bit about diet and rest. My wife is really big on my son getting the